Tejada, right? AKA Hurricane, AKA Lorenzo Tejada Jr. Um, is a very interesting character because Cane Tejada used to be very hot headed, still is to a certain extent, but even with the hot headedness, he's actually learning how to calm that down a little bit and be more strategic with the way he's handling his business. So the way he's carrying himself, he went from being a bishop, which is only straightforward, not a pawn per se, because he's too valuable, right? When, you know what I mean? Like when things need to get done, Cane Tejada is actually who it is that you call to get things done, right? Cane is the hitter. So the situation with that is that's very important, right? You must have your power or your dominion must be able to be enforced, especially when it's necessary. So the situation with Kane is that in season 1, he started in season 1 of book 2, Ghost, right? Kane was very hot headed, but in the second season, Kane actually became tempered a little bit thanks to Mecca, and Mecca showed him how to be a little bit more manipulative, and that you can't necessarily always be so brazen and always be so in a person's face. And yeah, I'm like this. Sometimes there is a sense of you need to be able to sit back a little bit and kind of make your move and let all the other chess pieces reshuffle or move around you so that you can pay attention to the circumstances at hand. And that's exactly what it is that Kane is doing, especially here in season 3. Because now Kane was put up to investigate what happened to Zeke. We all know what happened to Zeke. Lorenzo Tejada Sr. was the one that got Zeke. And basically, Lorenzo sent Kane on a wild goose chase, right? Set somebody up to be framed for Zeke's deletion, and Kane ended up putting one and one together to make two. That essentially it was Lorenzo, right? His own father that essentially done in Zeke. And when he found this out, he kept this knowledge hidden from uh, Monet and more so Lorenzo and just the entire family until it was time. Now, again, at this current point in time, Kane didn't necessarily tell the entire family. He just told Lorenzo Sr., specifically his father, that he found out that it was him that essentially got Zeke. And that was a very strategic move because you can kind of see Cane Tejada play the detective, right? As to where before, Kane was not in a position to even play a detective because he was just a person where he was a bishop. He doesn't do a whole lot of thinking. Basically, Lorenzo and Monet tells him where to go. He doesn't ask why. All it is that he knows is he's been put on an assignment, and he would basically need to handle that assignment in a certain amount of time, in due time. Otherwise, right? Otherwise, his credibility would go down the drain with the family, and not only that too, but also there's an undercurrent of them excommunicating him because he can't follow through what it is that he's doing, right? So Kane did a very strategic move, which was playing a possum and playing stupid until it was just him and Lorenzo Sr. by themselves when they were essentially handling their business when it came to the person that Lorenzo Sr. set up to be framed for Zeke's deletion. And Kane let Lorenzo know, look, I know it was you because Zeke never wore that ring. This is the thing that you need to understand. Zeke never ever wore that ring. I knew Zeke closer than you did, obviously, because you were locked up, but Zeke never wore that ring. So the mere fact that you put this person you gave this person that championship ring or whatever the case may be to try to make it seem like it was him that did it or whatnot. No, Zeke was actually used to keep that ring at the house, at the Monet, right, at Monet's house, aka Lorenzo's house as well. So there's no way that Zeke, there's no way that this person found Zeke with the ring on him, because he never took it out of the jewelry box that he had it in the first place. So boom, Cane essentially, and Cane and Lorenzo had this whole discussion about how Cane told his own father, like, look, I own you, and you really weren't ready for me, because all of you Tejadas, right, especially the grown ups, right, his mother and his father, aka Lorenzo and Monet Tejada, right. As you can see, Monet is in the picture here, along with Cane, right? Cane was basically letting everyone know, right? Like, look, or specifically letting Lorenzo know, y'all so worried about me being hot headed. Y'all not understanding that my character, who I am and who I am becoming someone that you can't get caught up so easily. And I'm starting to think for myself. As you can see, Cane Tejada is even trying to get at Tariq again by trying to holler at Effie. Now, eventually, it probably will happen. There probably something will happen between Effie and Kane, but because they're more suited for each other than Tariq and Effie, right? But at the same situation though, this is more so where Kane is the a little amount of lessons that Kane did get from Mecca, he's using it to the best of his ability. So what you can see from Kane is there's a certain level of ingenuity with Kane, because he's resourceful. He's not just taking those lessons and he's a dummy. But this is the situation though. This is Kane represents an archetype or a person that is totally underestimated, and people not really understanding that you know a person has potential, and not being able to use the person who has potential to train them in another area that you're starting to see or recognize potential in. A lot of times people just think that Kane is stupid or whatever the case may be, because of his lack of formal, book, educational knowledge, and what it is that Kane lacks in reading books and all this other type of stuff, and quote unquote sophistication. Kane makes up for in street smarts and manipulation and raw sheer capabilities to get the job done. So this is just a lesson that a lot of you should learn, that everyone is potential. Everyone has potential, and that when you essentially overstep someone's potential, especially when they are showing you that they have it, when they are exhibiting traits of having potential, I think it's a very terrible mistake to allow a person that obviously has potential, such as Kane, who has a lot of street smarts, to kind of go by the wayside and to underestimate him. So tell me what it is that you think in the comment section. Peace.